And in 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Guide to the Grind podcast, where we cover money, mindset, and momentum. Joining me today, as always, is actually, I guess I should. I'm still not used to this new intro yet, Jonathan. I'm struggling with it. My name is Jeff Eady, and joining me today, as always, is one of Canada's top mortgage brokers, one of my best friends, a guy I'm always glad to see, the chocolate to my s'more, Mr. Jonathan Tilger. Jonathan, how are you today?
As always, when I'm coming on here speaking with you, Jeff, just phenomenal and very excited for the guests we have on as well.
Fantastic. And that was a little homage to the Canada Day / July 4th weekend that we just went through. So I have with us today is the co-owner of Kuova Capital. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And owner of Exit Realty and a real estate investor. He specializes in multifamily real estate and is passionate about helping others create wealth through that channel. Please welcome Sunil Chalar. Sunil, how are you today?
Jeff, I am doing well. Thank you. Great introduction, by the way. Glad you guys are having me on today.
Fantastic, Sunil. Thank you for joining us. So I guess we'll get started. The thing I found most interesting in the bio that I read about you was that you actually didn't start in real estate. You started at a stock brokerage. Is that correct?
That is correct. Started from the ground up, worked my way up to the assistant vice president of the company in New Jersey. And yeah, that's where I got started. From there, believe it or not, I was in my mid-20s. I had about maybe 87 people working for me at that time. I met Anthony Robbins right around that time, walked on fire bare feet, and 2 weeks later, I gave my resignation.
Oh, wow. Really?
I was out making six figures. Pretty nice job. Yeah, I walked away.
Well, coincidentally, I'll just tie it back because right when I got in the mortgage business, went to a Tony Robbins event as well. So yeah, I know just the momentum and the energy it can give you, just really the focus more than anything else.
Correct. Like you said, you started off with a mind shift. It basically flipped the switch and it changed everything in my life.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that switch? Because so I'm a huge Tony fan. I'm big into personal development and I've seen the results in my life. But a lot of times people, I guess you call them the golden handcuffs, where people get the high paying job and they have all the benefits that comes with, but then they realize one day that their life is not really their own. Is that kind of what happened, or can you explain that shift?
Sure. Coming here to the US, I came obviously as an immigrant, no green card, no anything. So I've worked in factories. I've actually worked on the street, in restaurants. I've done it all. We grew up with a mindset of, you know what, you live within your means, and that's a good habit to have. But we grew up in a sense where, you know what, until you have the money, you could buy whatever you need to buy, again, within your means. The shift that came from that Anthony Robbins event were, rather than, when I have the money, then I'll do blank, rather than what do I need to do now to have the money to get what I need to get. So it's basically the way you think. And again, it's the mind shift. I'm very driven. So by no means do I need anyone to hold my hands. And I guess that was a catalyst that just set me off and made me what I am today.
So, okay, there was a lot to unpack from this. This is the meat of it. I love that you're in real estate. Now we'll get there, but I really love understanding. So, immigrant, that's huge, to come to a different country, to be able to make something of yourself, but not only that, to excel and not just settle for the working in a factory, because we see it all the time. That's a story that's been played out a lot. Up near where we live, Brampton has all of the Amazon warehouses and stuff like that, and there's all you see is people accepting jobs because they've come here with, even if they do have qualifications, they don't carry over here, and they get trapped in crappy jobs because of that. What got you to go from working on the streets to working in a brokerage? That's like stockbroker is a huge jump.
Correct. I obviously, like I said, I'm self-driven. I always wanted more. So coming here as an immigrant with no green card, I've seen all my friends be able to do certain things, and without having that identification, if you will, it limited me from doing a lot of things. So I graduated high school in 2 years here, went on to college and a degree in finance and economics. And I just loved the stock brokerage arena. Love trading securities. I love options. So that was my high. Before I even made it to the office, I'm trading. And either you're making money or you're losing money. Either one. I made money and I lost some too. But that was my high, and just wanted more, just hungry for more. And at that age, the funny thing is, in my, like I said, early 20s, I was hired to fire. And the people that I got rid of in the company, believe it or not, were people my age. And I saw the older folks, my parents' age, or people who have retired, a month later, grim story here. A month later or a year later, they passed. I even had a guy committed suicide after he retired. And now, me in my 20s, I got a long way to go until retirement kicks in, right? Do I want this as my life? So I asked myself that question after these series of events took place at my job. And I said no. And, coincidentally, like I said, Tony Robbins were in town, and I went to his event, and I walked away from everything, and I never turned back.
So what happened then?
Got into real estate.
Like the next day, or was there a time period between where you're going, oh my God, what did I do?
No. What had happened when I was studying for my stockbroker's license, at the same time, God alone knows why, I decided to take my real estate license. I failed my real estate license, but I passed my stockbroker's license because that's where really my emphasis would. That's what I wanted to do. But one thing about me, I've never given up, or I've never lost in my life. And it sort of haunted me. Even if I were to pass my real estate license and do nothing with it, I'll be okay with that. So I went back and I took the real estate test, and I passed it. And I figured, what? Let me give this a try. The first year, I made $5,000 in 1 year. I need to wake up here. I need to do something here, because I've been playing, obviously. And woke up a year later with my and I just killed it. I started one of the groups or company, I should say, that I got involved with were a small company, a no-name brand. But those guys basically bought, rehabbed, and flipped. They really weren't your typical realtors. They were more investors. And God alone knows how I got connected with these guys, but I did. And they had such a strong work ethic. You could make $1 million today and you live as though you have no money. So you work, you just hunger for money. And you obviously do things right. There's no screwing people over or anything like that. You do the right thing. So I got involved with these guys and just learned the business. I did a lot of foreclosures, bankruptcies. Every couple of weeks, I'm in different courthouses in different counties representing clients of mine who were losing properties. So I'm always in front of a judge every week, which was good. So it was a great learning experience. Number one, you help people, and number two, you make money, and there were a lot of money to be made. So I just, it created a niche for me where today I still buy, rehab, and flip. It's been my passion for 21 years now that I still do that. And got into the multifamily space and just loving life and loving what I'm doing. And my God, today is Tuesday, the day after 4th of July. I'm still not working. I'm here at my home, my home in the mountains, and just enjoying life.
Oh, I can hear the birds chirping in the background. I love it.
And I want to take a step back there to what you were saying, because you went from your first year in real estate, you made $5,000 to the second year you killed it. And I know, Jeff, you were probably thinking along the same lines here, because what are the things you did to really get your name out there, to transform it, to take yourself from basically $5,000 making money that, quite frankly, you cannot live on, to, as you said, killing it and just not so much spending everything you're making, but just be able to have the life that you want?
Again, meeting with these guys and learning that segment of the business, that segment of real estate. I got out there, initially started listing properties. So just learning what real estate or real estate agents do. Started that, and then I started buying properties as well. I started rehabbing and flipping, and that's where you see the profit. That's where you made the money. And the first year I probably made maybe $250,000 after making $5,000. And one thing I tell everyone is if you're not making at least $250,000 in real estate, at least you won't know what money is. Yeah, it changes your life. It changes the way you do things and the perspective you take on life. Now, one of the things is with my office, I drive people. I make people uncomfortable. If you were to walk into my office today looking to become a realtor, one of the first things I'll tell you is I'm going to make you uncomfortable in a good way. I'm going to push you outside your comfort zone because I'm always pushing me out of my comfort zone. And I'll push people out the door, which is totally fine by me, because that just means you didn't belong here in the first place if you're not willing to constantly be uncomfortable. Because that's where I live. And there's that fine line where success and failure meet. And where's that drive? How much are you willing to sacrifice and push yourself? And in 21 years, I think I've failed forward enough where at this stage in my life, I need to fail faster, failing forward. I'm turning 50 this year, and I told my wife already, this year is my midlife crisis. I'm working on getting my pilot's license.
Oh, very good.
I want to buy a plane this year. So she knows my midlife crisis is coming in a couple of months.
That is awesome.
Completely awesome. So I really like what you said there about being uncomfortable, because real estate, at the end of the day, you're self-employed, you're working for a brokerage, but you are, and while if you're with a good group, same as mortgages, there is support there, but at the end of the day, you still have to do the work. And as you say, you've got to be comfortable with making yourself uncomfortable, because if you're not making yourself uncomfortable, you're not pushing your limits. Yeah. And if you're not doing that, then you're not growing, and ultimately you're not basically putting yourself in a position to get the business that you deserve.
And especially, at the end of the day, we all need money. If we don't do something today, like I said, I'm turning 50. When I turn 40, obviously every year we cut cakes and do everything, right? I'm saying to myself, my God, when the heck did I turn 40? 45 came and now 50 is coming. When did this happen? In my mind, I'm 25 years old. You blink twice and obviously we all get older. That's something no one could control. But we want to enjoy life at a young age. One of the things that I'm seeing with the multifamily space, and just before I continue on the multifamily space, just in pushing people as well, in my office, it's nice making a commission, it's nice making that living, but at the end of the day, is that something that you really want for yourself? Do you want to make, if you could make $100,000, great. If you can make $1 million, wouldn't that be even better? So I push my guys, whoever has money and whoever would like to invest, let's invest. I've made guys in my office, I've made them serious money by investing versus a commission. So I rather teach the person to fish rather than feed them the fish. Because at some point, I want you to do it without me. Like we have kids at some point, they all fly the coop, which is totally fine. And you pay it forward. Someone when I was younger helped me, and I always like the fact if I could help you, I'll help you. I'll show you what to do, and I do that with every single person. I show them what I'm doing, and I challenge everyone, beat me at my game. And I'm yet to have someone beat me at my game. The information is there. Take advantage of it. And thank God, 20 years ago, I took advantage of it because I'm reaping the benefits through time. I've done very well for myself, and I am reaping that benefits. So here I am.
It's interesting. I had a moment yesterday. I took the day off I wanted an extra day, and I had the ability to do it. And I was out on a boat with my cousin and his two boys, and we were fishing, and the sun was beautiful and the water was turquoise, and we didn't catch a damn fish or even get a bite all day. And I just thought, really the secret to this whole deal is to get more days like this. Like that, I'm like that's what's going to make me happy is more days like this. It's not about the amount of money. Sure, it's going to make it, we can do it in a bigger boat and we can have more fun and all that stuff, but it's just like a day where you don't feel the stresses of anything other than just being here in the moment. As you sit on the porch in the mountains.
In the backyard.
Oh, okay.
It's on the jacuzzi, and I'm just yeah.
That's fantastic. So let's talk about all right. So I'll start this. I'm going to transition into the multifamily thing because I'm sure this is sort of the answer to where you're going. But can you talk about how you make yourself uncomfortable regularly? Because this is something that I truly live by. I love being uncomfortable, and I tell people to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Getting into the multifamily space, the transition with my very first deal, we lost it. We weren't able to raise the funds to close. So it killed me. So one of the things that I've done successfully in 21 years were having the ability to have the funds up front and close. In the multifamily space, it's different. You get on the contract and then you raise the funds, everything obviously being SEC compliant. We were able to raise funds, but also the waters got murky with some of the things that the seller did, that we were able to close on one property, and just murky waters at the end of the day caused by the seller. Either way, what I'm doing now is basically raising funds. I'm raising funds to close on every single transaction, and I'm going through the real estate company that I own right now, helping the company as a whole, teaching them the multifamily space and raising funds also that way. If I were to buy one house a month, which I'm currently doing, I'm buying 12 houses a year. If I buy one 200 unit, that's one transaction. How much did I really scale my business? Tremendously. So there's the ability to make money, and lots of money, in a shorter period of time. We all trade time for dollars, right? But at the end of the day, where, how much effort and time do you want to put in? Do you want to work your whole life doing it? Or if there was a way to work a shorter time frame and make a lot more money, isn't that a better way? Mm-hmm. Isn't that a smarter way to do it and live life and have generational wealth? That's why we do what we do.
Well, I think it's the guy who started Keller Williams put out a book, and he said that's truly the realtor's path is, yeah, sure. It's great to be commission driven in the beginning, but if you're going to get anywhere in the business, you have to think about being an investor and owning the properties that you're buying and selling, because that's the only way to truly create residual income in it and get your life out of it. Because I mean, I had a really good friend of mine, one of my best friends in the world, pass away from a heart attack. He just got his real estate license a couple of years before, and I'd never seen him like that before he became a realtor, chasing commissions and always on the phone and always on call basically for all of his clients and other realtors that he worked with. And I was like, that's not a sustainable lifestyle. You can't have a life like that long term. You have to be able to start to build something that pays you. So now that you're raising the funds, are you actually registered as a fund, like a 506D? Is it?
What we're doing, we actually had with partners of mine, we actually have created a fund which is in place right now. We are working on a separate fund as well, because we have the capacity right now where we could buy some of the properties, or the price which we are comfortable with is around $20-25 million in that price range. So that's where we are right now. We had just put in offers on 2 properties, one of which, believe it or not, was a $80 million property. which we were outbidded. So we are actually poised right now to do bigger things. But at the end of the day, we're getting out of our comfort zone. The crazy thing with real estate as well, especially with multifamilies, it is so much easier to get a mortgage on, let's say, a 20 or $80 million property than a house, a $500,000 house, which is just ironic.
Jonathan, didn't you just tell somebody the other day it's easier to get you $100 million than it is to get you $1 million?
Oh, very much so. It is funny, and most people don't think that, but you think big, and there's way more opportunities there.
Correct.
But you've got to stop thinking small though for that to happen. And what's your kind of due diligence process you go through, and when you look at, if we just look, I mean, obviously being outbid is one thing, but if you go through, how many properties do you typically analyze before you find one that you're moving in on, and how many do you turn down in that process?
Well, right now we actually have realtors, but for the time I'm doing this right now, I actually have a lot of brokers calling me, putting stuff on my plate, maybe 20, 30 a week. We take a look at, and we turn down quite a few. At the same time, there's so much investors in this market right now where people, just like the regular residential real estate, are outbidden or trying to buy everything. We are very conservative because with what's going on with this economy, we are playing it safe as well. Obviously, we just went through COVID. We're very conservative, so we are poised, but we are not rushing to just jump into anything.
So by conservative, you're looking at the cap rate, and the problem with obviously places being outbid is all you're doing is you're lowering the cap rate on that property, which is lowering your cash flow based on what you're paying for it.
Correct.
And do you guys have like a geographical location that you're looking for these properties?
We love the Florida market. Texas obviously is a hot market right now.
We don't hear that very often, do we, JT?
Georgia, the Carolinas, that's really what we look at.
Georgia and the Carolinas. Okay, that's interesting.
Obviously,
very interesting.
If there's money to be made, I'll say I'm the first one there. One of the good things that I could say also, we do have a demographer on my team, so that definitely helps. So we know where the part of progress is, and we are there.
Well, that's one of my mentors told me, if wherever the jobs are going, that's where people are going to need to live. So check that out and you'll be good.
Employment and jobs. And
yeah. So what kind of client profile do you look for then? Obviously they have to be accredited investors that would, and what do you like? Sorry. Try to explain this. What's your ideal type of mindset for a customer? Because I mean, or for a client, because sometimes people come in and they I've had to fire clients before because they're asking you the next day what their investment's doing, and then there's others who they don't really care. Just give me my money back in 5 years. What's kind of your mindset that you look for in a client?
So obviously someone who's looking for a decent return, and like you said, this is a marriage for a couple of years, so I don't need you on my back every single day. What's going on with the money, what's going on with it. So yeah, we're particular about that as well. As much as we all want money, we don't want the headaches that comes with it as well. You can ask questions, it's your right to do so, but we want to make sure that people know that this is a longer term investment. We do have doctors and lawyers. That's typically who we look for. There are a lot of realtors as well who are investors, sophisticated investors, who would invest as well with us. The typical guy, we have some who have money, who have invested in the past and just looking to roll their money. Yeah, that's really who we have. But again, we are particular, or we would have that conversation up front, setting not boundaries, but letting people know, what expectations is a word. There you go.
Mm-hmm. No, it's very interesting because there's a multifamily syndication market in Canada to a degree, but it's really been, well, decimated, I would say, since about 2016, because the major company that was doing it and had all the publicity, they were doing things perhaps allegedly incorrectly. And there's a big stink made about it publicly. So it's really changed here. And I don't think there's nearly, and Jonathan, you'd probably be able to speak better on this, but the syndication market in Canada is pretty much done, or very, very little of it is being done. Like there's a few companies that are still doing it very good who we're associated with, but it's just changed so much. Have you guys seen anything like that in the US? Because it seems to me like this is just becoming much more popular down there now.
One of the things that we make it a point to do, and just so you know, my business partner is Canadian.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Nice.
By overseas in the US. Yeah. We are very SEC compliant.
Mm.
So, we know at the end of the day that they're the guys with the deep pockets and we are not. And I don't think any one of us would look pretty in orange.
Yes.
So, we play that game.
No, compliance. That's and you know, we have some friends that have recently or are going through it. It's kind of a guilty until proven innocent thing with them as well, which is kind of crazy. So you got to make sure your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. And how do you guys make sure that, like, obviously you'd probably be pretty form heavy on having people fill out forms and make sure you've got your KYCs and all that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. Our SEC attorneys, pretty good in advising and helping us, and we comply with everything. And I mean everything.
Oh yeah, that's something you just don't want to mess with. That's Big Brother, and they're listening to everything. It's a cute, I love my brother. He is not in this world, and I let him know that we recently signed a document that made us a strategic advisor to a major investment bank. And he's like, wow, that's going to put you on some lists. And I think it's the first time in the last 15, 20 years he actually got that I deal with some people that are legitimate. Like, yes, that does put us on some lists, but it's not a bad thing. Just means that calls get recorded.
At the end of the day, I tell the guys in my office, and I tell this to everyone, if you do the right thing, when you go to sleep at night and put your head on that pillow, you should not worry about who's knocking on your door.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? At the end of the day, it is set up to protect the retail investor. It's people who've come before us. Like what is it? Charles Ponzi, the guy who started at the beginning, the whole thing. The SEC is necessary to a large degree, and there's been a lot of shady people over the years. But that being said, how would a client that you expect to come in, how would they go about underwriting the investment for themselves?
How would they underwrite it for themselves? Good question. Um, we would basically share our underwriting with them and give them the ability to go over it. If someone isn't savvy enough to understand the underwriting, we obviously go through it with them and advise them as well. Speak to their accountant, speak to their attorney, whoever they would like us to review that underwriting with. Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure people are comfortable as well. Not everyone have the knowledge to underwrite, and I get that. So whatever we could do to make sure that you're comfortable, we'll make sure that happens.
And if someone is investing with you, are they investing in just one? Are they go in and say, hey, we're buying this 200 unit building, they're investing in that building, or are they investing in you guys? Then you guys basically manage the fund and hey, here's the portfolio we're currently holding.
A lot of times they would come in as an LP, limited partner. So building specific.
Okay. So then the underwriting becomes a little more, there's probably more they want to look at because they want to look at that particular building. And does that building make sense for what they're really, does it make sense for them and their portfolio and their risk tolerance and everything else?
Correct. Because right now regarding the fund, we have opened the fund. We are funding the fund, if you will.
Okay. And I guess if it wasn't building specific, it'd be more of a REIT structure. Is that correct?
It is actually not a REIT. We are the GPs and the investors would come in as the LPs.
Okay.
So we actually hire professional management companies to manage these properties, a lot of times the management companies, because we have done a lot of business with them, they would come in also to manage the building, but also come in as a GP on the deal too. So
Yeah, see, sorry, this is just an interesting for me. We work more on the debt side of everything, but understanding the difference between a fund like yours and a REIT is really interesting to me, because there's a point where it kind of flips over, if I'm not mistaken, and I just don't know where that point is. It's kind of cool. Do you know where that point is? Is it just restructuring to change the paperwork? Is that?
well, I know with REITs, there are more fees in there.
Mm,
Exactly where that line is, I'm not 100% sure. So I guess I don't know. But like I said, all investors would come in as a LP, and then we'd be the GP on it. One of the things that we also share with everyone, as far as transparency goes, is what are we, the GP, making, and what are the LP making
yeah.
as well. So we show all our fees up front. So hey, question it if you will. It's there. So there's
Mhm.
nothing hidden.
No, that's cool. That's cool. And that's, I mean, that's just the best way to do business, because
Yep.
especially if you're running a fund, you want repeat customers. That makes the fund grow.
Sure. You want your customers to say, or your investors to say, hey, where's the next deal?
And
That's
what
what we want to hear.
what type of returns do you guys see for your investors?
Being SEC compliant, past returns, uh,
Nice.
at typically somewhere between 18, 20, 21%.
Oh, wow. Nice.
We've been able to pull those off.
But past results do not equal future results.
Are you, and how long are you typically holding a building for? Is this something that, hey, you're going to hold this indefinitely, or do you go in with a set exit? By the way, you're shaking your head.
Yeah.
We are not in love or married to the property. We're here to make money. Just like flips, these obviously are flips on steroids. Typical hold is around 5 years. If we could exit in less time, depending on market conditions, we will,
Yeah,
because we
that
want
makes
to
sense.
maximize profits to our investors at the same time. But yeah, if we could get out before, goodbye, make our money, and on to the next area
And
of
how,
loss.
how is market timing affecting you guys right now? Because I know in Canada, there's a big shift starting to happen, at least in the residential market. And I'm sure it's going to start to trickle into multifamily and others. Are you guys seeing that shift happening down there?
With the rise of interest rates, um, we have had a, not problems, but we have seen that shift where financing a property, or your LTVs have dropped.
Mhm.
So we have definitely seen that, and it makes it a little bit more challenging now. Uh, with that being said, whoever owns property right now, and if you don't have that interest rate locked in, some point you would want to bail. So
Mhm.
again, it's just a matter of being patient and going after the recent buyers of these multifamily properties, and see what happens there.
Oh, the recent buyers, the people who bit off more than can chew. I see what you're saying. Ah, see, that's smart. There is a massive bait ball happening right now. So
There's always that advantage, yes.
I like the way you think, sir. We should talk some more after this. So Sunil, as we're approaching the hour here, is there anything you'd like people to know about you and your companies, and how they can get a hold of you and all that jazz?
Yeah, if you want to be a part of what we do, absolutely. I give everyone my cell number. Call me directly, and I'll share that if it's okay with you guys.
Absolutely, absolutely.
My cell number 201-954-0292. Would love to have a conversation and move forward with anyone looking to make money.
No, fantastic. Well, Sunil, thank you so much. We really enjoy learning about your journey from working on the streets to stockbroker to, wow, now multifamily fund owner with a Canadian partner of all things. That's awesome.
Great, guys.
This has been great. Jonathan, anything you want to say to wrap it up, sir?
Oh, again, I'll just echo what Jeff said. Just an absolute pleasure speaking with you. So glad that you were able to join us, and from such a nice place as I'm seeing the background behind you too.
I've never spoken to anybody in the Poconos. This is awesome.
Yes.
One thing I do want to echo, talking about Canadians and US. I own a Exit real estate franchise, and I'm not sure if you guys are aware, Exit is a Canadian company.
No kidding.
Just so you know. Yep.
That's
great
awesome.
Great company.
That is awesome. Well, if we're down in your world, we got some good friends in New York we're raring to see this year. So we'll give you a shout if we're down there. Maybe we can have a coffee.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Sunil Chalar of Exit Realty and Cuova Capital. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you want to get a hold of him, his number again is 201-954-0292. Thank you so much for joining us, Sunil. Jonathan, thank you as always for being you. And thank you for listening all the way through. We really appreciate you. And if you want to know more about what we do, you can certainly go to guidetothegrind.com or amortgageplan.com. Download one of our free guides there. And you can, of course, press the like button on YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification button, all of those things, or you'll find us in Spotify or other places like that as well. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being here. We really appreciate you. Thank you for having us, and have a great day.
Thank you.